It is time to get raw. It is time to get down. It is time for the RAWDOWN, the number one source for all things WWE right here at the Turnbuckle Tavern. I am your host, Young Anthony of the Independent Epicenter, and I'm joined with me as always, the MVP Marco of the Chick Foley Show. J-Bone, unfortunately, is not here tonight. I'm coming down the aisle. J-Bone, hope you're doing well, and we will see you next week. And we're supposed to have another member of the RAWDOWN with us. Tom is supposed to be here. He says he's coming a little later, so the Tom countdown is on. We'll see how long we're going to be waiting for that. Hopefully it's not 2 hours like the Cody countdown. Marco, how the hell are you?
I'm good. I can't wait to talk about some interesting tidbits from this past Raw. Also, I feel like the RAWDOWN is boneless. Typically, right? I get it. But boneless. But yeah, I mean, he will be missed with his horrible takes.
Yes, absolutely.
He was totally wrong last week. We're gonna get to that in a few. He was way off course.
Absolutely off course, but he always is. So what are you gonna do? Folks, we have a great episode of the RAWDOWN for you here tonight. Of course, we're going to be talking about some outside the ropes news to kick off the show. We have an estimated amount of time that Cody Rhodes will be out of action, or maybe not. We'll talk about that. Plus, we have Riddle and Roman Reigns confirmed for the Universal Undisputed Heavyweight Bantamweight Cruiserweight Championship 24/7, 7-Eleven. However, it is not happening at the show that you would think it would be happening at. We are talking about that as well. Plus, I got to give myself a pat on the back later on in the show because boy, oh boy, am I the king of predictions. All of that and much more. And it is time to get into the RAWDOWN with our starting segment, as we always do. And that is news that you can find
outside the ropes.
Outside the ropes news right here on the Turnbuckle Tavern's RAWDOWN. Look, we talked about it last week. We started the show last week with Cody Rhodes, and we're going to start the show this week with Cody Rhodes because now we have a bit more news on what's going on with the Codester. He had his successful surgery on Wednesday, which was the day after we recorded. And it is now estimated that his time off is going to be 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months without the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. That was my awful Justin Roberts impression. So, look, let's talk about Cody Rhodes for a little bit. Wrestled with a torn pec. I mean, go back in the archives and listen to us talk all about that. Heroic performance from him. And now, unfortunately, he is going to be out for a few months. What were your initial reactions when you heard about Cody Rhodes being out for this long?
Man, devastated. First word that came to my mind was devastated. I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed Cody Rhodes mark. So, I mean, if you listen to Chick Foley Show, you listen to me here on this show, you know I am a full-fledged member of the Nightmare family. And it's upsetting. I mean, it's one of those things where he had this epic return at WrestleMania, put on like bangers of matches up until this point, and now it's kind of like derailed a little bit. But what I'm hoping is, that the last match obviously was super memorable with the torn pec and everything. So hopefully that's like ingrained in everyone's mind when he does come back. And I think Seth Rollins actually set it up perfect on Raw last night, where he had that like sit down interview, and he kind of like he's gonna keep the Cody name alive, I think, as Cody's gone. Because he got rid of the nightmare. He stopped the nightmare from happening. We all woke up from it in the WWE universe, and now we're free of it for now anyway. But I mean, I'm thinking the way he wrestled with a torn pec. I don't think he's going to be out 6 to 9 months. I think it's going to be shorter. I think he's going to be back in like 4 to 5. That's what I'm thinking. I know people are like, oh, he's old now, he can't, rejuvenate. But there's technology out there that he's gonna go to every length he can to come back sooner than 6 to 9 months. I can feel it in my bones,
Feel
definitely.
it deep in your bones.
In my
We're gonna
bones,
deep in your
bone punch all
J
night.
bones.
Yeah, because I can feel my J bones. It's gonna be all night. We're gonna do bone puns all night because he's not here. So
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't see this being 6 to 9 months. He was teasing a fucking Money in the Bank appearance, let alone, getting 6 to 9 months away from wrestling. People bring up the comparisons to 2008, the Royal Rumble with John Cena. Tore his pec, came back months in advance than he was expected to. And I mean, you said it best. He's not Cena, and Tyson is in the chat with us and he says it best. He ain't John Cena. However, that he is going to be working towards that. He is going to be grinding it out. And you could tell that he wants to get back in there. I'm sure he would be fine to wrestle with the torn pec. Like, that's just his mentality, is he wants to be in the ring. But like, I think you put it perfectly. I think they're still going to keep Cody Rhodes' presence, his aura on WWE programming, because you have to. You can't just have Cody away from the product for that long. And, ultimately, he needs to be a member of this roster in some capacity, even if it's just mentioning his name, even if it's showing little promo packages of him. He has to be on Raw. And I think you will see every week Cody gets mentioned. And I think that really adds to his kind of star power, because even when he's away from the product, they're still mentioning him as much as they will be, I would assume. It's a good thing for him. I think this Hell in a Cell performance really shined a light on him, on his, on his position in the roster going forward. And I think it's all good stuff. I'm bummed out that we're not going to see Cody for a little bit, because I was really hoping that we would see Cody during the summer with some good feuds, especially I'm sure they had something for him for SummerSlam. But maybe this is the best thing, making the best out of this case scenario. Maybe he shows up at the Rumble. Well, you would have to assume he's showing up at the Rumble. Maybe he wins the Rumble. Maybe he goes on, and that's where we get Cody versus Roman. There are a lot of different situations to take out of this. So ultimately, I think WWE is doing a good job in making a positive out of a very big negative. I want to get to this comment real quick from Ace. Acefield is in the chat. He says, the North American Journal of Sports Physical Therapy, that's a mouthful, details a rehab schedule following surgery on this type of injury. The NAJSPT recommends avoiding heavy lifting until 6 months after surgery. So, I mean, even if they're recommending 6 months, we're in June right now. 6 months from now is January, which is the Rumble. So, we might see. I think we're at the point where it's like Cody really doesn't need to come back early. Like, if he comes back for the Rumble, I would say that's perfect timing, right? Like, he wins the Rumble, he goes to Mania. At least we have the road to WrestleMania with Cody. Like, what is he going to come back for? Fucking Extreme Rules in Philadelphia? Like, he doesn't really need to come back a few months early for that. So I think he'll be fine, as long as they just mention him, and like, even if they give him something to do while he's out of action, like even if he's on the program and he's in some type of, maybe he becomes a manager for someone. I don't know. I feel like they could do something with him.
I could see him showing up on, via satellite, as they used to do back in the day.
Right.
Something like showing up on the screen and like giving a, like a report on how he's doing, that type of stuff. And I was reading that there is like a camera crew with him. I'm not sure if they're documenting like the, the torn pec or anything, but I think they're documenting that whole, him coming into the WWE this time around, debuting at Mania, that whole thing. So I'm assuming you're going to see some type of documentary for Cody Rhodes on Peacock at some point, just to keep his name alive, and they'll promote the hell out of it for months in advance before it even debuts, and you'll be able to see it. So they are going to go all in on Cody, and they already have. In the last 3 months alone, this feud with Seth has been
them going all in on Cody. And
yeah,
it's just a testament to his name and his star power and his brand that they are still more than likely going to be going all in on Cody, even with him not even going to be on the screen for the next 6 months. Like you said, that documentary is going to be huge because now I'm sure they can even make the documentary longer if they wanted to. Now, because they're going to be chronicling his journey with this torn pec. I think that's going to be a excellent, phenomenal documentary that I cannot wait for. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good out of this situation. Like I said, it's shitty that we can't see Cody for a little bit, but I think they are doing what they can, the WWE that is, to make the best out of the situation. So we're just going to have to wait and see on all of that. Let's move on, though, to another quick topic from outside of the ring, and that is that we have a confirm of Riddle versus Roman Reigns. The match is confirmed. We knew that it was going to happen, but we weren't exactly sure when it was going to happen. The rumor for a while has been that we were going to see Roman Reigns versus Riddle at Money in the Bank. That was the intended match. That's when everyone was thinking it was going to happen. And when the match was confirmed, I thought that it was going to be scheduled for Money in the Bank because, like we said, it was supposed to be Riddle at Money in the Bank, supposed to be Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and then Clash of the Castle as Drew McIntyre. However, they have upgraded this match. It is no longer going to be on this, premium live event Money in the Bank that, it was at Allegiant Stadium and they downgraded to the MGM Grand. No more will we see Riddle, the Super Bro, challenging the Tribal Chief on one of the biggest stages of the WWE's entire calendar year. No, sir. You do not even need to pay to see this match because, folks, we have been upgraded from Money in the Bank to SmackDown. We are going to see Roman Reigns versus Riddle on a random episode of SmackDown. Look, I don't love it, obviously, as I've been hyping it up. There must have been something with Roman's his time off that he's going to be taking off Money in the Bank as well. But I take this away.
I don't know. I don't even know what to. My fear is, hopefully they get some paid advertising for this match, so it doesn't cut to commercial. Because I've first and foremost definitely happy that Riddle's getting that title opportunity.
Yes.
The second part of that is, the commercials cutting that matchup, man. It's gonna be like a 10-minute match, dude. And I want to say, if I want to see, Riddle's first ever, big stage match, main event match, I want to be able to see it in full and not be taken out of it by commercials. So I'm hoping they get some advertising behind this, so they don't have to cut to any commercial breaks. Because I definitely think it'll be a banger of a match. Another thing I was reading was it was more like a dirt sheet, rumor mill type of thing. WWE's kind of backed themselves in a corner with Roman winning these 2 titles and having this undisputed championship now. And the last time he defended it he won it was actually in WrestleMania. That was the last time that he's actually stepped foot in the ring one-on-one with somebody, which is kind of a little bit of alarming because I guess the idea behind him unifying the titles is, I think I said this on this show, was for him to have that presence on both Raw and SmackDown, to bring those ratings to both shows and have him float on both shows. But
acknowledge me.
Obviously that's not happening. He's no longer that guy that's going to be on both shows anymore. He's
not that guy, pal. He's not that guy.
Nope, not that guy. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of getting worried about the whole main event title picture now. I was very optimistic. Bobby Lashley, that's not happening. He seems like he's having a feud with Theory. We're not going to talk
biceps.
Yeah, we're probably not. If
you're not into the biceps,
we might skip it. We'll see. But Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to shake my boots. The good side of this is we talked about this before on the Chick Foley show with the Money in the Bank and having those type of gimmick matches, Hell in a Cell being its own premier live event, blah blah blah, that stuff. The good thing is when you used to watch a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, you weren't even focused on the Money in the Bank like matches because a lot of the singles matches or the tag team matches, those storylines would kind of take over, and the MITB matches would be like second fiddle to what was going on. Like if Roman Reigns was on that show, Money in the Bank, it wouldn't be about the Money in the Bank briefcase and how important that getting that thing is. It would be about Roman Reigns and his title defense. That would like the Money in the Bank would take a second, like a backseat to it. So I'm actually glad that he's not on this because now the two Money in the Bank matches, now we can focus on those storylines, which they're kind of building. As we'll probably talk about a little bit later with Raw and SmackDown. They're starting to obviously add people to those matches, and it's starting to build up. And there's little intricate storylines that are happening, and they're doing it the right way, I think, this time. So I mean, like you said, I'm sad that obviously Riddle's not going to get that main event match, but on a premium live event. But I am happy that the Money in the Bank actual match is going to be the the main focus of this show. So
yeah, no, you make a good point. I think it's just the idea of they've spent a little bit of time now. I wouldn't say like a good amount of time, but they've spent a little bit of time building up this match to the point where it feels like a big deal, right? This is Riddle's first real challenge at a title. He feels like as serious of a contender as he's felt in a long time. So I just wish he would have gotten like a bigger stage for him to do it on. Of course, doing it on SmackDown, having the match in general is a big thing for him. And it's a good thing to kind of, well, as this comment says from Ace, I think he puts it perfectly. This is getting him to watch SmackDown this week. Obviously Riddle is losing, but you need to support the dude when he's in a big spot. He showed an edge to him, and I think he's a legit main eventer now, at least. That's exactly, what I was going for there is, now you're starting to see that Riddle is this legit main eventer, but in the WWE's eyes, this is also a good way to get some interest behind SmackDown. And they've been doing this for a little bit now. You've had the undisputed tag team title match with RK Bro and the Usos. You just had the IC title match, which we'll definitely talk about this past week. So you're seeing a lot more title matches on SmackDown, which honestly isn't a bad thing. I just wish that these champions and their crowning moments would have a little bit more of that oomph to it by putting it on the bigger stage. But you know what I mean? Matt in the cooler is in the chat, and he also says part of me expects this match not to happen on Friday. So, I mean, I'll swing it to you. Do you think there is any chance that we don't see the match on Friday and instead we end up getting it at Money in the Bank as it's planned?
I mean, we'd have to. I don't know. I think it is going to happen on SmackDown. I don't see why they would not they would advertise it like this much and then just pull it. I mean, maybe he does lose and they do a rematch at Money in the Bank, but even the stuff that I've read, it was, Roman Reigns has been pulled from the show. Like he's been pulled from Money in the Bank, so he's not even going to be on it. Essentially, that's what I've read anyway. So I'm not sure if that's sticking, but if that's the case, I mean, I think this match is going to happen. I hope it does. A lot of people would be upset if that didn't happen.
I would be upset. I want to see this match.
Yeah, we definitely want to be on the island of relevancy one more time, at least. I mean, we haven't seen him in a while, so definitely would love that.
Full of suffering, succotash, son.
I don't think I've ever used that one. Look, let me give you a scenario here. They're saying that this whole idea of putting the two belts on Roman was to give him more exposure on both Raw and SmackDown. Obviously, he's gotten little to no exposure on both brands because he's been taking time off. So if you're fantasy booking Roman Reigns losing one of these championships, how would you do it at this stage that we're at right now?
See, that's the other thing. He's been gone so long that not that it's been like a long ass time, but like he's been gone enough time in the WWE universe where there's no like build for anyone to take one of those titles off of him. There's
Nobody.
no storyline that's gonna say, "Hey, this person is the person." Riddle. If they're gonna take a title off him, it's probably gonna be I would assume the WWE Championship if they're gonna go that route, and continue the Universal title as like the main title that he'll hold. But like I said, right now I don't see any indication of them doing that. Like I said, there's no seeds that have been planted. Nothing. Not even Randy Orton. They've kind of like, they talk about him being like taken out by the Usos, but they're not even hinting he's coming back at any point, like anytime soon. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how they would actually take one of those titles off of Roman Reigns right now.
I wish I had an answer for you, but I'm the one that presented the question. I couldn't tell you whatsoever, but it might be. I don't think it's a hot take to say that they need to get one of those titles off of Roman. I think we're at that stage where a lot of people before were even saying like, it's better to have both the titles on him. Like you can't lose one or the other. You need to lose both of them. I'm at the point right now where it's like, and I guess I'll hit it.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
They just have to take the title off of one of the titles off of Roman, not both. Keep the Universal title so that he has that long reign as he should. But the WWE title, he does not need that whatsoever. It's even starting to be like devalued a little bit in my eyes with this kind of undisputed thing that they're doing, because it's called the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship. It's not even like the Undisputed World Heavyweight. I don't even know what the fuck it's called anymore. But it's called Universal. So you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's the World Heavyweight Championship anymore, or the WWE Championship. They're really pushing that Universal name. And I kind of expected that to be the case. Like, it's WWE Universe, it's Universal Championship. So I kind of expected them to do that, but not at the expense of your most prestigious title that, you've had all these amazing champions like Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, John Cena, Jinder Mahal, like all these amazing champions. You can't go ahead and, have him just hold on to this title like a prop. It's a cool visual to have both the titles up in the air. I get it. It was a good visual for WrestleMania. I was there. It was amazing. And it works for like the Usos because the tag team titles, there's not really a division right now on either side. So you might as well combine it. And they've been doing a very good job with the Usos, having them on both brands and flip-flopping a little bit. Brand split is dead. Let's be honest. But at the end of the day, at least it works to have these two combined divisions so that the Usos can run over them. That's fine by me. Roman Reigns, it's at the point where you don't even have a world title presence anymore. And it's different from Brock when Brock was the Universal Champion and, he was away all this time because you still had the WWE Championship on programming. So there was still some type of championship to be defended. Now you have both shows without a champion. So you have to do something. I think they have to take the title, at least the WWE title, off of Roman and let him keep the Universal, keep that lineage, keep the reign. But I don't know who they'll take the WWE title and put it on, but it has to be someone. That's all I got on that.
Yeah. The other thing too is with the tag titles, the reason why they can get away with the undisputed part of it and it actually works is because they're named after the respective brand. So like you have the Raw tag titles and you have the SmackDown tag titles. So if you have both, now you're that main champion that can float across. They could do that with the women's titles. They can combine, the SmackDown Women's Championship and the Raw Women's Championship and have like one champion and have her float across, both brands. The WWE Championship and the Universal Championship, the naming of it doesn't. There's no float in between. It's just two championships that kind of like equal each other out. Essentially, that's what it seems like. And like the only other thing I can think of is just combine it and make it one title. If they're not going to go the route of taking it, but who's going to take that title off of Roman Reigns?
And that, I'm about like lineage of the titles and stuff, and that would fuck up the whole lineage.
You can see, look, that
I mean,
me,
like,
right?
yeah, there it is. Look at that beautiful.
You got the winged eagle, and then one's the real one, the other one's a fake one. But
yeah, and we have the AEW title in the back, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I represent all brands. I'm
represent all brands here on the RAWDOWN.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you wouldn't combine the fucking United States and Intercontinental champions. You know what I mean?
Two different. Yeah.
Exactly. But like for the Raw and SmackDown, it works because, Raw champions, SmackDown champions, it even fits that whole brand warfare thing. Like, this is your undisputed champion. We're not disputing the WWE and Universal champions.
No.
So I don't know. Take the fucking title off of the WWE title off of Roman. I'm tired of not having a champion on the show. We need at least one. And especially with the brand split not even happening now, that's perfect. Because now the WWE champion can flip-flop while Roman takes his time off. It could work so perfectly, but
just copy AEW and do an interim. Just do an interim champion and just
let's not go too crazy with these interim champions now. Let's pump the brakes on that one.
Interim Universal Undisputed Champion, and they can walk around with 2 belts.
That's a mouthful. Say that
That'll
5
be
times.
4 belts. 4 belts. How great would that be?
4 belts. I'm sure Vince would love to see Roman with 4 belts. Give me a break.
4 belts.
4 belts. God damn it. All right. Well, that's enough talk for the Outside the Ropes segment. We are going to go back into this beautiful comment section and see what our listeners, our viewers are saying. First of all, if you are in the chat, thank you for joining us. Please make sure to leave a like on the video and let us know what you are thinking in the comment section below. We have Chad in the comments, and he says, did Tom get stripped tonight? Did Tom get stripped of the title?
He should.
Not yet, but he's close. By the end of tonight, if Tom does not show up for whatever reason, Tom is losing that title. So he's got until this isn't even part of the rules, but I'm giving him until the end of the show. If he is not here by the end of the show, no more title. Had all these graphics. Let's break the fourth wall a little bit. I had all these nice graphics made up, right? And this guy, he knows shows. Well, he told me he wasn't going to be here for a little bit, but look at him. I had all this made up, and it's all going to waste. Ridiculous. Let's go into some other comments now. Let's see. Where else can we go here? We have Acefield. He says, title matches on TV for them are more important than on the premium live events. They got their bag from NBC. They need to give their sponsors big matches on Fox. Could make an argument it's more valuable on SmackDown. Yeah, you make a point.
Yeah.
I'll say it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Put the title match on SmackDown. It helps the TV channels and everything. All right, I'll give you that.
I agree.
I mean, it's also like, even if Riddle was fighting at Money in the Bank, it's not a huge, stage like a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam. Like it's just Money in the Bank. I know a lot of people consider it like in the Big Five, like maybe, but
maybe
I don't know. Some people even say it's rounding out Survivor Series. I don't think so. Ace also says it would be 100% in WWE's playbook to pull the match, but it's happening. My prediction: Riddle kicks out of a spear and Roman looks shocked and chokes him out. Reigns gives respect by looking surprised. That's a good prediction right there. The whole comment section just lighting it up about Tom not being here. We're gonna give him some time. We're gonna give him till the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see. Ace also says the lineage is already fucked up, TBH. I find it ironic, though, that Anthony hates a new mid-card title on AEW, but wants 2 world titles on WWE with a fraction of the roster. All right, we're going to go into that. Listen, I don't care if it's, fake, the whole brand split thing. To me, I consider Raw and SmackDown as 2 separate entities, which means 2 separate rosters. You need a world, mid, women's, and tag on each brand, on each roster. In my eyes, AEW is 1 brand. So you need a world, a mid, a women's, and a tag. That's all you need. For SmackDown and Raw, since there are 2 brands, you need 2 sets of each. when you have more, when you need more than those 4 titles, that is when you need to cut down the roster. And I'll even give that to the WWE side. The fact that they needed to bring in the 24/7 title and the women's tag team championships means that they needed to cut down the roster, which they have. But I still don't think you really need the 24/7 or the women's tag team titles, just as you don't necessarily need the All Atlantic Championship. The women's side of things is a little different because although the TBS Championship isn't necessarily needed, it's still cool to have for Jade, I guess. But still, you don't really. It's not really like a necessity to have 2 women's championships. But Marco, what were your thoughts on the All Atlantic title?
I mean, I think I was kind of like trolling in the in our group chat there a little bit, but I mean, I don't mind it. I knew that was going to be something that they're going to present at some point. You obviously had the trios titles floating around. I think that's coming next. That's definitely that's not out of the picture. I think that's definitely on the horizon. I think they're just waiting for the likes of Kenny Omega to make his grand return.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind I don't mind that All Atlantic title. I think it's with a TNT title kind of lost its luster, we'll say. I think this will bring that like mid card roster back up to its prominence with this title. It looks like the other like main championships, which I definitely like. It looks like the World Heavyweight Championship as well as the Women's Championship. So it kind of like runs concurrent with that. So I think that's gonna slowly replace the TNT Championship as that main mid card title. I think
That's fair.
You got to think because the TNT Championship was made because it was on TNT at that time.
No, yeah, true.
It's like, to me, I don't want to bring it down that low, but it's kind of like a 24/7 championship right now. When that All Atlantic title makes its appearance, it's definitely going to drop down to the lower ends. It might be a Rampage title at some point. It might flop around there. I mean, I would just to get those guys and gals some their hands on a title at some point. But we'll see what happens.
No, well, definitely. Look, I won't go too crazy about the All Atlantic because look at the logo down here. But I just think the only way, right? How am I trying to say this? The All Atlantic title to me serves a certain purpose, and if they treat it like the TNT title in the case of it just being like another championship.
Yeah,
then that's where I'm going to be like, okay, I was correct. I'm still hopeful about the championship, but the second I see the graphic from AEW Dynamite, where how they're having like the little flags in the background for the wrestlers that are fighting for the All Atlantic.
Yeah.
The second I see 2 USA flags for the All Atlantic Championship is when I know that I was correct. That's all I'm going to say. As long as they keep it to what the European title was supposed to be in the WWF. Not what it ended up being, because although it was a good championship, it was intended to be fought overseas. And of course, that happened with the first champion was the British Bulldog. And then, of course, international sensation Shawn Michaels became European champion, and that just really went all in on the belt. I would kind of also like to see them split up the titles a little bit, have the TNT title defended on Rampage, which is on TNT, have the All Atlantic featured more on TBS for Dynamite, and vice versa. You have the TBS championship featured on Dynamite, and you have the women's championship featured on Rampage. I feel like that would be a way to, kind of suffice it a little bit. But I want them to focus on the international wrestlers for this championship. That's what they're intending for this championship with this tournament. So I don't know. I think you can keep. Yeah.
I think so. With the relationship that they have with like New Japan and like even Impact and stuff like that, I think they have the depth of a roster to actually pull that off. They're not really contained within the AEW realms when it comes to talent. So I mean, they can definitely branch out and grab some other people from other promotions and stuff like that, and which they have been doing. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty successful. Like I said, as soon as that's like that makes its debut, that TNT championships going bye bye. I think at some point, yeah. And they'll do like a thing for it because obviously the Brody Lee was like the that's who they like kind of held as like the main like with when it had the red title when it first appeared and stuff like that. So that'll never go away, that legacy part of it. But the black strap, the black strap TNT, yeah, that's gone. That's I think that's Sammy kind of killed it for everyone. I don't think that's any any surprise. And then Scorpio's trying to do his best, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to bring it back to its prominence when like Miro and Cody had it.
All I'll say is,
like even Cody, look at that, bring it back.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes every week.
Yeah, just bring back Cody Rhodes and we'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
All I'll say is if they book the TNT title properly, and if they didn't have as many wrestlers as they do, we wouldn't need the All Atlantic Championship. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. But that's enough talk of the All Atlantic Championship. It is now time to get into our second segment on the evening, and that is getting inside the ropes for
collar and elbow.
Let us get into the collar and elbow. This is news from inside the ropes of the WWE. All right. So what are we going to start off with? Well, I've been eagerly awaiting to get on to this episode and do a little bit of chatting. Now, if you know me, you know that I love when I'm right. Right? Don't we all? But I love it a little bit more because when I'm right, I prove others wrong. And that's just what fuels me, what drives my passion to get on here every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and speak my mind. Now, the Judgment Day, of course, broke up not too long ago. It is now 2 weeks ago since the Judgment Day broke up. And, we had a few people that were, kind of for it. Tom was for it. I think you were even a little for it, or you might have been in the middle.
Yeah, I was for it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you were for it. J-Bone was very against it. And I wish J-Bone was here today because he was so against the Judgment Day breaking up. And he listened to me talk about why I think it happened, my conspiracy behind it. And, he's I wish I had the soundbite for it. He said, this is, great point or whatever, but you're still wrong. It's stupid. It's stupid. You know what I mean? He just, he just wasn't buying into it. A little refresher for everyone. My point on the Judgment Day was the fact that now that Edge is out of the equation, there is no leader. They are now leading themselves because now they are, one united force. And I had this whole big rant about it that, they felt overshadowed and now they got rid of the person that was overshadowing them, that final piece. And now Finn, Rhea, and Damian are united and blah, blah, blah. Everyone said I was stupid. Everyone said it was a stretch, blah, blah, blah. And then what do we see on Monday Night Raw yesterday? We get a little bit of a Judgment Day promo, didn't we? Didn't we, Marco?
Yes, we did.
And Damian Priest is automatically my favorite wrestler of all time. Of all time. I love Damian Priest. Why? Because he proved my point. The only words that came out of Damian Priest's mouth were along the lines of, We got rid of the person who was overshadowing us, the whole point of the group. I almost want to get his promo up. I'll get his promo up to read exactly his words. But, you know, he said basically that they got rid of the one person that was overshadowing them. So now there is no leader of the group. They all lead themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
mean,
he did say
come on.
something to the fact where, like, you know, Edge contradicted himself because you know, he was leading this group, but he basically told us, you know, we don't need any leaders. We're leaders ourselves. That pretty much that type of thing. And you pretty much last week said those same exact words. Like you said, the whole point of them getting rid of Edge was because he was the leader and he was telling them what to do and being their leader, when in reality, the whole point of that group was they didn't need a leader. They didn't need people telling them what to do. And Edge was doing just that. That's why they got rid of him. And you literally said those same exact words. And then Damian Priest came out on Monday Night Raw and said those same exact words. It was almost like I said, it's almost like someone was listening to RAWDOWN last week. And was like, yeah, that's a good point. Let's put that in. Let's put that in his promo. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was pretty uncanny. I was just like, when I was watching him do that promo, I was like, that's literally what fucking Anthony said last week. like not the same exact words, but the same, like, pretty much almost word for word, like, you know, the contradictory and the, you know, we're our own leaders, and, you know, that was, yeah, it was. I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, well, I'll have to say it. I'll give you the props, Anthony.
Why, thank you. It's about time someone acknowledges my brilliance. But I do have the official transcript of this promo. So we have here Rhea Ripley. You know, she's going at it with Bianca Belair. Rhea says, "Bianca, over here. The Judgment Day, we speak through our actions." Or was that Finn that said that? I believe Finn said, "The Judgment Day, we speak through our actions. We do what we want, when we want.
Yes.
We're tired of playing nice. We are tired of taking orders." And then Damian Priest goes on to say, or I don't know who exactly says what, but this is what they say. "Judgment Day, we speak through our actions. We do what we want, when we want. We are tired of playing nice. We are tired of taking orders. This is why we knocked Edge from his pedestal and removed him from the Judgment Day. Edge had the right idea when he started the Judgment Day. It was meant as a movement for those who are tired of living their lives for others. But Edge's actions contradicted his own mission statement. He painted himself as our leader and would tell us to not do as we're told. He sealed his own fate. Now the Judgment Day are all equals." I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding, ladies and gentlemen.
You went on like a longer rant than that, but pretty much like he summed up what you said there about Edge and, you know, his leadership, and not lack thereof, but he wasn't supposed to be their leader. He was supposed to be there and kind of like guide them in the right direction, not like, you know, overshadow them and, you know, have him as they're like minions or whatever, do his dirty work and stuff
that's
like that.
Exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. That you know, you would expect that him to kind of uprise these you know, these underlook. You can't even say like these younger talents, because Damian Priest is 40 years old and people forget that. You know, these underlooked talents like Rhea and Damian, and sometimes he would, but the main feud was not really Judgment Day versus Edge. For the most part, it was Judgment Day versus AJ Styles. It was Edge versus AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So he contradicted his own point. So although he needed someone,
I need someone to step up.
Judgment Day had to sit him down. So look, all I'll say is I was right. And, you know, Chad said it best. You'd think with his Soothe Slayer abilities, Anthony would have that RAWDOWN strap instead of an outsider like the OG Fig Kid. Well, I'm going to put in a little petition right here on the RAWDOWN. If Tom doesn't show up, right, he's losing his title. I fucking think I should be the champion. I mean, I did this word for word. Golly, I think, you know, Bruce Pritchard or Kevin Dunn or maybe Nick Khan himself, or maybe even Vince is watching or listening to the Turnbuckle Tavern. Who knows? I mean, here, how about this? Anyone at WWE, if you are listening to the Raw Down right now, give us a sign. Do Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode versus Omos next week on Monday Night Raw. If you are listening to the Raw Down, no one else has to know. Just between us. Do the 2-on-1 handicap match and have Omos win, and we will know. And we'll know.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say on that. But yes, I think I should be champion. But you know,
I mean, I think I should be the champion because I came in like next to Tom essentially. But we won't talk about that. We'll just leave. We'll leave that there. But I'm going to say this:
we won't bring logic into this, of course. Just as I say that,
kick him out.
As I say this,
kick him out. We don't need him in here.
Oh God! All right. Hey, the OG Fig Kid is in, even though I'm trying to give him a proper entrance because he fucks up the episode. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Hey there. What the heck is that?
Finally do our
he's trying to do our
where's the
graphic that he had prepared for us.
I had a whole graphic paired up.
Here we go.
Us. It was a beautiful graphic, and he shows up 45 minutes into the episode. You should be stripped of the title.
Somebody had diarrhea all over the house.
Oh, that's
why
great.
I'm up here.
That is so great.
Aren't
you downstairs for your episodes?
Yes, until I'm cleaning up diarrhea right now. I don't want to leave him up here alone. So the wife's in bed, so I'm in charge of the puppy.
Aw,
this is ridiculous.
Good
I don't
guy,
care
Tom.
about your dog's
End
diarrhea.
of broadcast. I'm reading the comments.
So
what's up, guys?
We were talking about Judgment Day and how brilliant. Did you get rid of him again? Oh, geez. All right.
I did it. I went to push my laptop back and hit the button.
So we were talking about Judgment Day and how much of a brilliant person Anthony is for, picking exactly what was supposed to happen with Judgment Day. But the other thing I thought about too is like all the little nuances that if you go back and watch all those promos, because you even actually brought this up, go back and watch all the promos. Edge was actually like, he had a throne. They were standing off to his side. Like he wasn't like trying to grow them as his peers. He's trying to keep them as underlings and do his dirty bids. Mm-hmm. He walked out. When they walked out, he walked out first. They walked behind him. He had the big wings and stuff like that. He's kind of like this, angel, savior for them or whatever. Yeah, I encourage people to go back and definitely watch those promos and watch those entrances, and then go back and listen to what Damian Priest said, and you'll get it. Maybe J-Bone will get it this time.
J-Bone's never going to get it. He's going to be. He's so stubborn, right? I beautifully painted out this story for him, word for word, what was going to happen, and then it happens yesterday on Raw. Damian Priest, one line. That's all I needed. He said it perfectly. That they kicked out the one person who was overshadowing them, and now they're equals. That was my point exactly. They must be fucking listening to this show. It happened as perfectly as it did. And J-Bone's going to come in next week. He's going to be back, and he's going to sit down, and he's going to say, nah, I just think it's stupid. Nah, I just think it's stupid.
I love it. I think it makes it so much better.
It does. Yeah. I think this was exactly what needed to happen. I'm happy that it happened because I'm always right. I mean, I'm not always right, but when I'm right, God, I'm right. I am
100% of the times you're right, you're not wrong.
Yes, Tom. Thank you for that.
No problem, dude.
Well, Tom, since you're here, what were your thoughts on the what were we talking about before? We're backtracking a little bit here, but what were your thoughts on Cody being out 6 to 9 months now? And what are your thoughts on Riddle and Roman Reigns now happening at SmackDown instead of Money in the Bank?
First of all, like, make it happen at Money in the Bank. You can't get Roman to travel on that Sunday or Saturday night. Like, come on. Like, why won't he travel on a Saturday? What's the big deal about go on Friday? I don't get it. Like, yeah. I would love to know what's really going on here, that all of a sudden now he's a diva. Now he gets the light work schedule.
So do you think it has to do with him being a diva now instead of it just being like, him having time off? Because that was the original thing, was just him having the time off.
Well, he'd have more consecutive time off if he didn't show up until the pay-per-view. So it's something weird. I don't know what it is. If he's just burnt out, maybe. I don't know.
Definitely a different outlook on it. Sure.
I just don't understand it. Something doesn't click to me with the whole thing.
You know what? I mean, obviously, you know, when he did take time off before, it was because, you know, he went back, you know, his cancer came back and stuff like that. So maybe this is a precaution for him to, like, you know, not have that happen again. Essentially, maybe this time off is like, you know, him trying to rehabilitate his body or do whatever he needs to do to, you know, keep it going. Who knows? I mean, that's a good point, Tom. I didn't even think of that. It could be something, you know, weird, essentially, that like something personal. We don't.
I mean, I think everything's okay, or else he wouldn't be showing up to wrestle sometimes.
Yeah,
but
you know what's funny?
He just needed to step back a little bit.
The Sunday before he announced that he was, you know, leaving, he had relinquishing the title because he had to go, you know, go into chemo and all that stuff. That Sunday they were supposed to be in Boston for like a live event, and he was supposed to be main event. I think it was like him. I want to say AJ Styles, but I forget. And then they, like, at the last minute he got pulled, and we were like, "Oh my god, he got busted again for for substances like he did last time." So we were like kind of like bummed out about it, obviously. But then next night on Raw, that happened. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to, you know, keep something quiet, or maybe he is taking time. I don't know. It is kind of strange that they're not doing this match at Money in the Bank. You have my conspiracy mind going now. I'm trying to think different reasons on why.
It's definitely a good point. I still think it has to just do with him like taking the time off, but I think you make a good point. It's weird that he's taking, you know, SmackDown to do the match, and, you know, maybe it's after that he'll be off for an extended amount of time, but
till SummerSlam.
I'll show up at SmackDown, but I won't show up at Money in the Bank.
Well, maybe it's, you know, it's not going to be like 2 weeks off, then he does Money in the Bank, then it's another 4 weeks off. Like, instead, you just get the SmackDown match out of the way, and then you get like 6 weeks off continuously.
It cracked me up. I read an article today that said that how this backfired in WWE's face. They made him unified champion, so he can appear on both shows more. And then he gets this new contract where he's appearing less than ever. As far as Cody goes, I don't believe it's the 9 months. I think they're saying it's going to be 9 months for the shock factor when he comes back sooner, when he gets the bigger pop.
Yeah,
that's what we were saying before. I think it'll well, the thing I was mentioning before was that, you know, even if it's 6 months, right, we go from June to January, that'll be the Rumble. So technically he doesn't even need to take time off unless they want to bring him back in October for whatever reason. So if I'm WWE, you know, and we were both kind of saying this, Marco, that you still keep him on a presence on TV. You mention his name, you show little vignettes or promos or whatever it may be. And then you have him back in the ring for the Rumble because, you know, huge number 30 Royal Rumble victory for Cody Rhodes going on to WrestleMania. That's a huge thing. So I would rather just keep him off TV for the 6 months, but keep his presence and his name on Raw. I think that'll be enough for him for the next 6 months or so.
If they are listening, you WWE, anyone from a mole, whoever, if you're just like, you know, you have a Catfish account and you're watching this right now, the perfect thing to do would be to, you know, have him come back at the Rumble, but calculate the time and start that Cody clock at that time. So right when his number is happening at the Rumble, you know, it counts down that 10 seconds and he shows up. That'd be pretty amazing.
That'd be very impressive. They need to get the mathematicians out there to get that perfectly. All right. Well, now that we're all caught up to speed, let us go back into the collar and elbow here. We have one more topic here for collar and elbow. Then we'll talk about you know, who won the week and stuff. As next week, we're already getting into next week here. We have you know, a lot of things coming up soon. Money in the Bank is coming up. You know, SummerSlam is, you know, as sooner than you think is SummerSlam, but we have a huge return happening next week. Supposedly, a huge return coming next week. Hello. My name is Elias. Elias is supposed to be coming back next week. Ezekiel promised it. Elias, you know, he promised the return of Elias. We're going to get a concert with Ezekiel. And this is all playing into the Ezekiel Kevin Owens feud that we've been getting for a while now. And I don't know how they're going to pull this off. I don't know how we're going to get Ezekiel and Elias together, but somehow it's going to happen. And I think it's going to be great. Say that again, Tom.
It's because they're brothers.
Well, yeah, of course they're
They'll
different.
both be there. It's going to be awesome.
People. I just, we haven't seen them together in so long. You would think that there's something wrong, like maybe there's a sibling rivalry or something that, they don't want to be in the same room together. But somehow they are going to be in the same room, and I think this is going to be epic. Marco, give us your thoughts on this. How do you think that we are going to get Elias and Ezekiel in the same building?
I don't even know. Like, I know, like, if they're not, I mean, if they weren't going to do it with, them in the same room or same building, I mean, obviously they could, put a beard back on Elias and, have him go out there and do that thing and maybe have Ezekiel show up on the screen and say, hey, I'm in the back. I'm in the dressing room right now, just hanging out, waiting for my brother to finish up in the ring or whatever. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I mean, the last time they did something like that was with the Faces of Foley when Dude Love was interviewing Mankind and then they introduced Cactus Jack into the picture, and all three of them were on the same screen. Mm-hmm. But obviously that wasn't in ring. But I mean, maybe they'll do something like that where they'll be, they'll do something pre-recorded. But if they're showing up live, I don't even know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I mean, Kevin Owens gonna be involved. He's gonna try to figure out how this is working. Ezekiel says he is in the back. Kevin Owens gonna run to the back and see if he's there, and maybe they cut away and he is sitting there. I don't know. This is where, WWE, as much crap as we get them for like booking matches and all that stuff, when it comes to the production side and doing these type of vignettes and these behind the scenes and backstage things, this is where they kind of flourish. So I'm very interested to see how they do this.
Yeah, I think it'll
make
the whole thing with the because you mentioned Three Faces of Foley, and I think that's absolutely a great comparison to this. But the only thing is, Mick Foley had a beard for all three of those characters.
Exactly.
So it was very easy to do a little split screen here. Mm-hmm. They shaved the beard clean off of for Ezekiel.
Maybe it wasn't real in the first place. Who knows?
Well, we don't even know that Elias is shaved.
Maybe Elias is shaved. Maybe he.
I don't know. Like this is Ezekiel. Like Elias probably still has the beard.
Maybe.
Right. So there's another. I
noticed one thing, young Anthony. You have this light on. It makes your beard look even worse.
Thank you. I'll be cutting that out of the audio because no one can see my beard.
That's just bothering the hell out of me.
That's great. Thank you for that. We're taking the title off of you tonight. I'm tired of this. So there's another layer to this. And Nick Storm mentioned it, and I think we need to address it. What if they bring in Damian Sandow?
Oh my God, that'd be epic.
That would be the best thing of all time.
That'd be insane.
They're going to bring in Elias and have Ezekiel, and then they'll eventually win the tag team titles. Like, what if you guys, like, everybody's just assuming he's the same person like Kevin Owens? I think they're actually two separate people.
It'd be amazing if they do find some dude that looks exactly like him and bring him in as Elias. Maybe he does have a twin. We don't even know. It's possible. I mean, Tom's right. I mean, let's live in the kayfabe. Maybe he does have a twin brother.
He did a lie detector test. He passed a lie detector test.
He did. He did pass a lie detector test.
That's true. A lie detector test never lies.
It can't be wrong.
When was the last time that the WWE, covered up a lie detector test or something? The WWE is always honest with us. Exactly. But hey, look, we're gonna have to wait and see on the whole Elias Ezekiel fiasco. But I know that it is going to be an amazing segment. One of the only reasons why I'll be tuning into Raw next week, besides watching it for this bullshit show. But regardless,
you don't want to see another pose down.
There's going to be a tag team called Double E.
Yeah, we won't get any other pose downs yet. But why did I hit that? There we go.
I don't know.
All right. Well, before we get into our final segment, it is time to read some comments because lighten it up in the comments section as per usual. Let's let's go back to some Judgment Day talk. Judgment Day has a lot of repackaged tones and themes that Retribution had originally before they ruined it with the identity reveals of T-Bar and his Slapnut buddies.
Mm,
I get it.
No.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's actually right.
How?
I don't know if they had the repack. No.
Because Ali was saying how they were being held back, these guys, and that's why he brought them in. It was the whole purpose of Retribution.
Yeah, I can see that. But
I mean, it's
thought he was
different
saying
because...
like,
Well, no. First of all, Retribution was just fucking awful. Let's get that out of the way. At least Judgment Day is pretty good. The whole point of Retribution was that it was the wrestlers themselves taking what was theirs. They felt underappreciated, so they went under the mask, and they were wrecking shit up, and they were throwing fucking these bombs and throwing shit around the performance center,
TPing houses and
TPing houses, and doing all the stuff on the Halloween teenagers do,
egging people.
but they were taking matters into their own hands, which is the point that I'm trying to get at. Whereas it was Ed, and then they brought in Ali to be that guiding light for them, or just be their leader or whatever. Whereas Edge brought Damian and Rhea into their group, and Damian and Rhea were like, fucking, we don't need you anymore. You are overshadowing us. Just get out. So I think there's a big difference there. I wouldn't compare it to the Retribution yet. I wouldn't compare anything to Retribution because fucking abysmal that group was.
He didn't really compare it to them.
Yeah, I mean, had a lot of repackaged tones and themes. Retribution had originally.
I mean,
originally
they
no, but
they were,
as far
they
as
weren't hiding their identities. Like they weren't they didn't have name changes. Like Damian Priest didn't come out this week as Priest.
Yeah,
and Rhea Ripley comes out as Ripley, and Balor comes out as Balor.
What they really dropped the ball with Retribution is when they unmasked. They should have said, "That's Dominic Dijakovic. That's D.L. Madden." Like, it was so stupid. They should have went with that, and I think it would have made that angle better when they.
Yeah, they went with slap nuts.
Dropped the ball on Retribution when it started. The ball was never in there.
You're not
wrong. What else do we have here? We have Ace Field saying, I think it's well-deserved time off for Roman Reigns, nothing more. The brand sells itself, and the Cena schedule is adequated. Rather him be refreshed for the big events. Chad also says, Cody is returning and winning the Rumble. Mark that down. I think I have to agree with you on that. We also have Ace Field says, Damian Sandow as Elias, or it's a complete missed opportunity. We also have Ace Field says, the answer took the high road. Could have had his second pipe bomb here on air with Tom as the target. I definitely could have. I'm sitting cross-legged right now too, so I could have went off on Tom, but
Indian style.
Thankfully, I have whatever.
Dude, did you shave your mustache at all? Is it like that's what it grew in on?
No, I haven't shaved it in a little bit. I have to shave it. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Oh, thank God.
Thank you.
That one patch of random hair just growing there is bothering the hell out of me.
He's like.
And Tyson says Ezekiel said on the bump that he and Elias aren't twins.
They're brothers. They never claimed to be twins.
Yeah.
Different. All right. Well, let's get into our final. Well, we have basically two final segments on the night. We are going to start talking about Raw and SmackDown from the last few days, weeks. And that is, of course, by starting off with my favorite jingle and yours. It is time for the match of the week. Match of the week right here on the RAWDOWN. I have mine. I know mine like the back of my hand, but we'll start with Tom. What was your match of the week?
I'm going to pick Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan defeating Doudrop, and who is Doudrop's partner?
Nikki.
ASH. Yeah, that's my match of the week.
Okay.
Really
elaborate on that. What did you think of the match?
First of all, I really like the idea of Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss as a tag team.
I bet you do.
And they get they get into the Money in the Bank match now, and it's the only match I watched for the week. So,
All right. Marco, what was your match of the week?
See, I had two, one from SmackDown and one from Raw. I'm gonna decide between either Riddle and Sami Zayn, or AJ Styles and Seth Rollins.
Ooh.
From last night. I'm gonna go with Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. They're both just amazing. I mean, AJ Styles doesn't age. Like he's been what, WWE for 6 or 7 years? So is it 7?
was it actually AJ wrestling to his potential? Should I go back? Is it worth me going back and watching?
It's really. I mean, it's Seth. I just said it's Seth freaking Rollins and AJ Styles. What kind of match are you expecting to see? Headlocks and like wrist locks and.
A year ago, I would have expected a great match, but with what AJ Styles has done the last year or so.
Oh no, it's really good. I mean, especially with Seth Rollins is on a roll right now too. Even though he lost all his matches, he's still putting on bangers, man. He's that guy. No, definitely go back and watch it. But like I said, Riddle and Zayn. I'm a fan of Sami Zayn, and they did some work on the SmackDown main event last week as well. So.
Sami Zayn's so underrated, in my opinion.
He's really good, man. Like I'm so glad he does. I'm glad he's in that like main event, kind of the main event picture with the Usos and Roman Reigns. I love how they're doing that. So he's getting
this might be. I'll throw in because we haven't had a few of these tonight.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
When they give him the spotlight, Sami Zayn is the best heel in WWE. All heels considered.
I agree 100%. That's a great statement.
Yep.
I always call it back to that, intercontinental period during the Thunderdome era. He was doing some of his best work. What did he call himself? The Master Manipulator, or I forget what his nickname was, but perfectly described his character. He was phenomenal. Over Roman. Yes, 100%. When they give him the spotlight, it's very neck and neck. But when Sami Zayn is presented as the top, even mid-card heel in the WWE, yes, he is the best heel. He does the best work. He makes you like, think. He's that heel that makes you think a little bit. He's a smart heel.
I have a hot take. Hold on.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
So although Roman's story is very good and probably the best story in WWE, I don't think it's far-fetched to say it's very hard to do what he's doing as this heel. They could almost put anybody in that role and they could do what Roman did. That's why I think Sami Zayn is the best heel in WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a very good point. I think I wouldn't say anyone could do what Roman's doing, but I think it's very easier to fill Roman's, gimmick than it is to fill Sami Zayn's gimmick.
100%.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, you still have to perform, as a heel in that position. So not a lot of people can do it. Sami Zayn, obviously one of them. But I mean, who else would be able to do that? Like you take that person out of Roman Reigns' spot and put that new person in. Who else would you consider doing that?
Well, Acefield says if you put someone like Omos in Roman's role, I think there are some exceptions. That's why I think anyone who can talk, I guess, anyone who has
like Baron Corbin, you could easily probably take Roman out of that and put Baron Corbin in that because people hate his guts. He's an asshole of a heel. Mm-hmm. People generally hate Baron Corbin. It's not just like fans booing him. Like people legit hate his guts.
Yeah.
So he could probably pull it off as well. I think be that heel champion. And that's I can't. Seth Rollins obviously right now too.
That's a good criteria that I never even thought of, Tom. Like if you put someone else in their shoes, can they fill that role? And that's even for the top baby face right now.
Of course.
I think without doing too much thought process, I think Cody is the best babyface in WWE, hands down. can you put anyone in Cody's position though? And I don't think you can with his promos and his just aura about him. I don't think you can replace Cody.
Here's the thing. It's not like Roman's cutting earth-shattering promos every week like MJF did. He's coming out there. He's saying he's acting like a tough guy, which he is. But all he's saying is acknowledge me.
Who did you mention? What's MJF? Who's that? I never heard of him.
Yeah, never.
He's not cutting earth-shattering promos. He's not doing anything. Oh my God, it can't be missed.
Acknowledge me.
Exactly. Like young Anthony, you could go fill his shoes right now and do that.
I could fill his role, and I would
do it. Say the acknowledgement. I want to see you do.
All right. Acknowledge me.
That's pretty good.
I rest my case. Good job.
Acknowledge me. Sucker.
Get Booker T in that role. Booker T could fill the tribal chief.
King Booker.
Ace is just going crazy here. He says that's giving the Machine too much credit. There's a reason no one else has taken that spot. Hogan, Brett, Austin, Cena, Roman.
I don't think you're talking about a superstar like being that main, face superstar. I think we're just talking about the
gimmick
role of the heel. Yeah,
the gimmick of the tribal chief.
And I've said this before, but I don't know if I said it on here. Just because you're the best now in a company doesn't make you one of the best all time.
I have a hot take. We'll say this. I have a hot take for that.
Where is it? There it is. Here's your hot take.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
All right. As much as I love Roman Reigns and I love what he's doing right now, all those names that Ace did mention, I don't see Roman Reigns anywhere near any one of those guys.
Yeah.
Right now, anyway.
100%.
I mean, and it's not a slight, those are just like cemented, legit superstars. Like,
so this is my question then, Marco.
Like Hogan, Cena, Rock, Austin, Ric Flair, like those are like cemented, like their legacies. Like,
I don't watch WWE. What the hell is he talking about? Marco, here's my question for you: has Roman Reigns legitimately worked himself in a position where he deserves the part-time schedule he's now getting?
No.
Okay.
Right now, for me, no. I think it's too early.
I agree 100%.
He came back 2019 he made his return, right? It's 2022.
Yeah.
Here's my thing about him earning the part-time schedule. Like, when was the last full-time champion that you've had that has been on this length of a run that Roman's been on? When you see like these long champions, they're usually on the part-time schedule. I think the most recent example was Brock, and he's had that part-time schedule. But you're doing like Raw, SmackDown pretty much every week during the pandemic era, where, you have this immunocompromised system, you're going to all these events, you're the, flag bearer of the company, you're doing Mania, you're doing all these matches, you're going up against all these different talents. I don't think he's earned a part-time schedule, but I think he's earned time off for sure.
Oh, yeah.
If you say it that way, I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, time off, definitely.
I absolutely love what Roman's done for the world title and universal title and now combining them. I think WWE needed this, and he's pulled that off perfectly. It's just, and if it's just a summer he's taken off, but I don't mind a part-time schedule for a world champion if just not the challenges to support the champion right now. And is really, it actually, I think it will hurt him to be there every week more than it would help him.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems too soon. Like he just won those titles like together, and now he's like gone. Like it's like it just seems like we talked about earlier, weird. Like it's just like they had this big momentous like he's gonna be the first ever undisputed blah blah blah, and then like it happens, and now there's like nothing afterwards. It's just like I'm taking time off. There's no like continued storyline of him holding these titles. Essentially, it's just.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Where is Roman all-time WWE right now?
50. No, I'm joking. I don't know. What are we talking about? As far like how many numbers?
Just
like
all-time wrestler for WWE, because it's easier, because then you got to take into consideration all the international wrestlers have done it.
I'm just gonna say
Haven't
this.
wrestled in WWE. Where do you rank him all-time WWE?
I agree with what Marco said before. He wasn't on the list of names that Acefield threw up there. He's probably like third tier of all time, maybe. I'm just
Honestly,
doing it roughly off the top of my head.
because there, even with the names that Ace mentioned, and I'll throw them up again for our audio listeners. You have Hogan, Brett, Austin, Cena, and Roman. Obviously, I don't think Roman touches any of those guys.
100%.
I think Hogan, Austin, Cena, tier 1. Brett, I would put tier 2. I would put tier 2 for Brett. Although he's one of my favorites.
Okay, you could name Shawn Michaels, Macho Man.
Sean, Macho Man, Undertaker, Rock, Andre, all these different names. I would put Roman like top 30.
Yeah, top
30.
Maybe
think,
top 20, depending on who. If you're gonna like really deep dive,
yeah, you really got to think about it.
How much longer this run goes on, how it plays out, what he does.
Ace also said you put Jey Uso in this spot. The gimmick doesn't work. Getting back to the original topic, you put Jey Uso in the spot. The gimmick doesn't work. The gimmick works because of Roman. I think the gimmick works for Roman because he has that kind of swagger to him. If anyone else had that swagger, I'm going to be honest with you, like fucking if Tom right now started calling himself the tribal chief and he had the swagger to him that, he started like, just looking the part, coming out here with 2 titles. If he like really just put on that swagger, Tom could be the tribal chief. I think it's not like a knock on Roman, though. Obviously, Roman is the top star right now because Roman is great. The argument is that someone can fill Roman's gimmick, not his shoes. Roman's gimmick can be taken from someone else. That's why, getting to what I originally said in the first hot take, Sammy's gimmick no one else can do what Sami Zayn is doing to the level that he's doing it. Just like no one can do what MJF is doing or what Cody Rhodes is doing or just anyone. Yeah. So that's what the original like topic was. But
I guess here's the thing. It goes back to like Vince McMahon having the idea for the Undertaker, and then he finally realized, okay, Mark Callis could be this Undertaker guy, and it works so perfect.
Yeah,
somebody else might have been able to play the dead man, but like that works so well. And then so Roman, it just kind of it's working, but I don't think it's not so deep that nobody else could have done it.
Right.
Yeah, he's just doing it so like great right now. Like the position that he himself, like that's his personality. Like if you watch that Evil docuseries that they did where they like kind of explore like the heel personas of all these superstars, like he said himself, he's like, when, and the other said it too, like when they had him as a baby face, it's not that he's a dickhead or anything like that. He's an asshole to people. Like he's just a swagged out dude. Like that's his personality. He's just like, I'm the shit, basically. Like you can't tell me any different. But they had him playing this like white meat baby face, yay, smiling and shaking hands and kissing babies, and that's him personally. That's not who he was. Like that's who he is personally. So like they let him be who he is. That's why it's so great. Like this position he's in now. Granted, obviously he has like the writers and all that stuff behind him. Yeah. But you would need that person with that personality, that heel personality, or that like I'm the shit person. Like a Baron Corbin, he's the same way. He in his mind, no one's better than him. And that's all you need is like no one's better. The Miz. Miz been doing it since he's stepped foot in the WWE. Like nobody's better than me. He made that like Intercontinental Championship the most prestigious championship when he had it. When he had that run, that pretty much epic run, when he had the IC title, the white strap one, he made it like it was the main title. Like that was the A championship. No one cared about the WWE championship at that time because I think Brock had it. So he was like off TV, and he made that Intercontinental Championship that like main title.
Ace says this is the Vince McMahon mindset that thought fake Razor and fake Diesel could work. So wrong. Guys make gimmicks work, and special talents like Roman don't come along often. Anyone else with that Taker gimmick would not have made it out of the corny mid-90s. Absolute fact. Taker made it. Well, here's the thing. Razor Ramon is one of the greatest characters of all time.
Yeah. Again,
like let's put it into perspective here. First of all, fake Diesel could work. Fake Diesel could work. Fake Razor couldn't work.
I don't think they were ever meant to work. He just wanted to prove he still owned.
I don't think he's trying to get that over at all. I think it was just like a knock on anyone can do your thing. But even with like, if you listen to all those interviews with like, you know, after Scott Hall passed away, like recently I was listening to DDP Snake Pit, and they did a whole episode on Scott Hall and Razor Ramon, and that was his character. He was just the consensus is he's just cool. Like everyone that ever spoke to Scott Hall, like he just carried himself like, you know, the slick back hair, the S curl in the front. He just added the accent and the toothpick and all that stuff. But that's his personality. It's not. Yeah.
Let me just finish what I was saying.
Take Razor Ramon / Scott Hall greater than Roman Reigns.
I haven't watched enough about Razor and Scott Hall to know that, but what I was saying to Ace's comment was, you know, Razor Ramon is one of the greatest characters of all time. Diesel, someone else could play his role. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yep.
Sami Zayn, arguably, is the best character right now. I don't think anyone's character comes close to Sami Zayn. Roman Reigns is kind of in that Diesel spot where, although his character is good and the guy makes it work, if you put anyone in that spot, and not anyone, like I think you need to talk, and I think you know you need to have something behind you. Like, you know, we're not talking about fucking Omos here is gonna be the next tribal chief. Like, it needs to be. I think my argument is more for like there are more people that could fill Roman's gimmick than there are that could fill Sami Zayn's gimmick. I think that's another way of looking at it. Disagree with Diesel. Nash is a top 5 bit. We're not talking about the wrestler. We're talking about the gimmick. Diesel as a gimmick.
And Nash is not a top 5 big man of all time.
And that's another hot take. I don't know about that. As the gimmick, Diesel. Is Diesel an all-time gimmick?
By the way, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think I know where this version of Roman Reigns was born. When he was out after WrestleMania during the beginning of the pandemic, he did an Instagram live thing where he went on, he was taking a walk around his neighborhood.
Yeah, I remember that.
It turned out like what he said there was so much like this character. I think somebody at WWE must have seen it and said, let's go with that, because that's when people were criticizing him for staying home. And he came on and he was like, you don't know me and what's going on with my family that you all are criticizing me.
Yeah.
And like, I wish that video was still around somewhere, because I think that was this run for Roman.
Yeah. He walked around. He said basically like, you know, what I'm doing right now, I'm doing for my family. Yep. You know, doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, that type of thing. And I'm only, you know, protecting my family and what I got to do to put food on their table. Yeah, it's legit. But he was talking. That was him. That's what I'm saying. That was him. Like he was speaking as Joe Anoa'i. He was speaking as Roman Reigns at that point. Right. But I think like they kind of if you listen to any wrestling podcast, or they always say any great character, it's your life that leads into it. It's turned up a little bit more than normal. Like The Rock. Yeah, like The Rock is, he's humble, as you see now. He's a lot older, obviously. But back then, he talks about him playing college football and all. He was an asshole. He was just like, I'm the greatest thing. I'm gonna make it to the NFL. All this stuff, that's his character. Obviously, turned up a little. Stone Cold Steve Austin, same thing. That's who he is, but obviously turned up a lot more than
Stunning Woman. I mean, what? Never mind.
Oh. Real quick before we move on, because we got to wrap up the show in a moment. Acefield, this will be the last little back and forth here, but if Nash wasn't Diesel, he wouldn't have been world champion. I mean,
Um,
I'm young and all, but I know that mid 90s, it was very slim pickings on who was going to be that world champion. You had Brett, which, was moved to Bob Backlund, and Diesel was just a big man. Like, Vince was going to put that title. He put the title on Psycho Sid, for God's sake. Like, any big man during that time would have been world champion. Diesel, you could say he was the right guy in the right place, but like right time.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're getting a little controversial here with these takes. But I mean, it's something to think about. Can someone fill Roman Reigns' gimmick? Or, is he making the gimmick, or can someone even fill Sami Zayn's gimmick? I think no. Absolutely.
Yeah, Sami Zayn's hard. He's just a character in himself. He reminds me of, like, I was talking to my wife when you're watching. I was like, he's legit like a Robin Williams. If Robin Williams was a wrestler, it's Sami Zayn. And you can't top Robin Williams. I mean, that, like, no one can come out and be the same type of comedian or the same type of actor Robin Williams was. And that's you can't take him out of that gimmick and put someone else in the Robin Williams. You'll never see Jim Carrey, same thing. There's not going to be another Jim Carrey. Like, you can't take the Jim Carrey gimmick and throw it on somebody else, because it's just not happening. It's the same thing with Sami Zayn. He's just, you're right. I mean, he's just a character, man. Like I said, I've been enjoying his work that he's been doing on SmackDown more than ever all through that WrestleMania run with Johnny Knoxville and all that stuff. He made that work, and he got it over. And that was like that was the highlight of that WrestleMania weekend for me, anyway.
Obviously, Sammy's been on a roll since he returned.
Yeah,
I even loved that thing when he did a live question and answer in the ring, and he's like, "You people could have asked me about AEW, and you didn't."
Yeah. Answering phone calls from random people on his Instagram, showing his phone just blow up. Yeah, man, no, he's great, dude.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. Good little talk there. Anyways, my match of the week just totally went off there. No, my match of the week was actually different than all of yours. I went with Gunther versus Ricochet for the IC title.
Oh, man.
Oh, I did see
that. It was a quicker match, but like,
man,
I'll be honest. Like, I know everyone was saying, like, when Gunther changed his name and they changed Gunther's name, they took Imperium away from him and everything, brought him to the main roster. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's done. That's it. No more. Fucked up Walter. It's over." He's gonna be a world champion, and it's like, unless he does something to completely mess it up. He's reliable. He's taken the changes that they've made to his character and have just gone along with it. He's gotten in shape. He's gotten in great shape. Yeah. He's reliable in the ring. He has a safe move set. He's going to be a world champion. There's no way around it.
I could see that, man. I could definitely see him. I mean, especially, I mean, he was the UK champion for a record-setting number of days as well. And it definitely, I encourage everyone to go back. If you have Peacock, and definitely watch his matches, man. He's brutal. I mean, as you can see, those chops are pretty deadly.
SmackDown, like, I love the move when he like brings his opponent up on the turnbuckle and he just like starts kicking him. Like, he's so good.
I could definitely see him being a world champ. I could definitely see him being like the ultimate heel.
Yeah, he's like an old school heel too.
Yeah, I could see him and Cody, man. I could see him and Cody in a program, like, him and Cody being that white meat baby face against Gunther, who's just like big. And Gunther's a champion at the time, and Cody has to try, or whoever the baby face is at the time. We never know. I mean, I could see Theory at some point them switching him over to be a baby face.
I could see Gunther and Cody 2 years from now main event in WrestleMania.
Yeah, they have like that stare down, like Cody's like looking up at him, and
they got to call back to the AEW promo and reference Gunther McGillicuddy. That's what you call me, and like slap him in the face and just embarrass him, give him a good old-fashioned beatdown.
And also to mention, he's younger than Cody, Roman, and Seth. and
Yeah.
Drew, if we want to
just looks
consider them
old.
the big four right now.
Yeah.
Not by a lot. He's only 33, 34, but like he's in the prime of his career right now.
Yeah.
He's just hitting the
Fucking
prime of his
put
career.
we were talking about taking one of those titles off of Roman. Fucking put it on
Dude.
Walter.
Dude, you can't
Like-
take one of the titles off. They're unified. They're one belt anymore. There are not
Oh,
two belts.
Take them
They're
both.
not-
Take them
Have
both
Gunther
off and
take
put
them
it on
both off.
Gunther.
They're
Then
not
God,
going to separate them.
they should.
No,
They
they
should.
shouldn't. That's what's wrong with WWE.
And it would it be believable too if they had Gunther go in and just destroy Roman Reigns and take those titles? Would that be out of like?
I don't
Would
think
that
he's
like
there
shock
yet.
you at all?
At this point, might as well.
That's
Tom, have
the-
you heard my argument about the All Atlantic Championship though?
No.
I was saying it before. The reason why, and I know we're backtracking, and people listening to the audio are probably going to be like,
Let's
"Fucking hell."
fast forward 30 seconds.
Yeah, they'll fast forward this part. The reason why the All Atlantic Championship does not work is because I consider AEW to be one brand. WWE has two brands. They have Raw and they have SmackDown. Whichever way you look at it, technically they have two brands, which equals two rosters, Raw and SmackDown. Each single brand needs a men's, women's, mid-card, and tag team title, which is why it makes sense for Raw to have the WWE Raw Women's Tag Team and United States, and SmackDown has Universal, Intercontinental, and the other titles. Of course, they don't need the 24/7 and the women's tag team, but you've also seen that my whole thing since the start has been if you need more titles for a roster than just 4 titles, men's, women's, tag team, and mid-card, you need to cut down your roster. And that's what WWE has done in the last year or two. They've cut down that roster a lot.
Oh yeah.
They still have the 24/7. They still have the women's tag. Well, they're about to not have the women's tag anymore. But the 24/7 is obviously just a joke belt. It's not like a prestigious title that people are taking seriously. Whereas on AEW, now you include a second mid-card title. You have a second women's mid-card title. Like all of that for one brand. It's too much. Unless they do the All Atlantic Championship correctly, which I was mentioning before, which it's just international stars. Because the second that I see those nice little graphics that they have with the flags now, that I think look great. The second I see one of those graphics with 2 American flags behind the wrestlers, that's when it's fucked. It's done. So
Yeah.
that was my whole thing.
They have to. I don't love the idea of it, as you know, but I'm still going to be a little open-minded and let them prove to me it's good and let them book it right.
Mhm.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like,
I'll be open-minded.
If
I
it's a
think you have to
division
be.
that they're building like that and it works like that, I'm fine with that. Like, but let them. They have to prove it to me. I don't love the idea of a third singles men's title on there, unless it was like a lightweight or up in like a title for like Dante Martin and those type of guys to have them to actually fight for something. That would have made more sense to me because you have all those young guys, those lightweight guys that could have been in their own division. It would have made sense. So, but again, let them. They haven't proven me wrong. They haven't done me wrong yet. I'm not excited for it, but that could change it. Like the matches in this tournament, or it's not even really a tournament. It's qualifying matches for the Fatal 4-Way at the pay-per-view. Yeah. So like the people hating on it just because that they're saying it's another tournament, stop. I don't
No,
hate, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I never bought into that argument.
So I don't even know who's gonna win it, but like here's the weirdest thing is the All Atlantic title and Japan's fighting for it when Japan's nowhere fucking near the Atlantic. Like what the
hell? I think it was in Europe, in European or whatever.
Exciting when they go overseas. Well, what about the AEW World Championship?
Yes, literally. Do you think people in the UK or wherever are gonna care about a title with no prestige or the fucking World Championship, which is their main title? Hello, do we need another title for that reason alone? The European Championship was going to serve that same purpose. And then, like I was mentioning before, they put it on the British Bulldog. Do you think that that's going to be their title that they defend overseas? And then Shawn Michaels wins the title. And then there's no European lineage anymore. Give me a break with that. Come on.
Yeah.
But alas, we will see what happens. All right. Well, let's end off the show as we always do, with
Who won the week?
Who Won the Week. Tom, you're the champion. Who won the week?
I'm gonna say Raw.
Raw. All right.
I'm gonna go watch
Marco?
Seth and
Oh.
AJ right now.
Let's see.
Tough decision.
It is tough.
Both
If
shows
I'm
are pretty
going-
good this week.
Yeah, both shows are pretty equal. Oh man, I'm gonna to break it up. I'll go with SmackDown only because the Riddle match, like I said, Riddle and Sami Zayn, as well as you pointed out, Gunther and Ricochet was amazing as well. They had two pretty, and then obviously Raw had, like I said, Rollins, AJ, and I mean they did have a great main event on Raw.
But you know
I think
what?
that's
You
why
know
I
what
picked-
SmackDown didn't have?
A pose down. No, I'm joking.
Well, that's true too.
They didn't have a pose down. That's why I picked.
Liv Morgan.
Yeah, well, I mean that's why I picked. I mean I picked SmackDown purely. I mean they didn't have a pose down. That's all you really need. I mean, for me anyway.
Oh, you didn't love the pose down? That wasn't your favorite segment? It was my favorite segment all day.
I hated the. Why were they commentary? Why they had
I heard it
commentary.
was a callback, like move for move, to the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude pose down.
Yeah, I mean they. Yes,
Nice.
that's what I. Yeah, leave it where it's supposed to be.
Leave it in the
You want to
past.
see that? Go to Peacock.
Don't need,
pull it
yeah,
up.
go to Peacock. You
Yeah,
know.
go to Peacock's. Go see a pose down. I'm not. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a main event.
As a main event too, that's just awful. I don't know what they're doing over there, but I will also agree with Marco, and I will go with SmackDown simply because Gunther winning the IC title was just the highlight of the week for me. Because I really think he's going to bring prestige back to that title.
Oh yeah,
I was just
Oh,
gonna say that.
This is
Watching
the first
one
champion that I
month-
think, like, of course, the whole, like, there's not a lot of contenders right now, which is a whole nother issue. But I feel like the champion makes the championship. And I think he's going to do a lot to, even if he just like, if they could book it any way they want to. Open challenge, you could have them just have the champion. Step one, get the title back on a pay-per-view. That's all. That's the first step because it hasn't been on a event since WrestleMania 37 last year. That's not good.
yeah.
But I do think that Gunther will have that effect on the title, and they'll get it back on the main shows, which is kind of the same light as Theory winning the U.S. title since he's a Vince McMahon guy. You've been seeing that title featured a lot more. You might even see Theory versus John Cena at SummerSlam. So a lot of moving parts here, but I think we're at a stage right now where the champions are where they need to be, except for the whole Universal WWE thing, which I do think we need two separate champions.
No, God, no! They finally fixed it. Let me ask you one quick question: do you guys have a problem with a guy like Lashley, who was world champion, WWE champion, now going back and fighting for the U.S. champion? Because I don't like it. I don't know if that's just the old school me. Just feels
Yeah. I see it both ways. I guess with they had to obviously pivot with like Cody, leaving, and yeah, I really had a strong indication that like Bobby Lashley, there's going to be a lot of faces going for that undisputed championship. But now, obviously, Cody being gone, and now Roman, doing whatever he's doing with his time off. I think just to keep Bobby Lashley like activated. I mean, and help build Theory. I mean, obviously, we talked about age. Bobby Lashley isn't obviously a spring chicken. So
he hasn't lost a step or anything in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely. But I think using his name to build Theory definitely helps as well. We always cry about WWE never builds young talent. They're always using older guys or part timers and stuff like that. I think putting Theory in a program with Bobby Lashley definitely helps Theory, and it helps Bobby Lashley stay in the spotlight too.
I guess if Lashley doesn't wind up winning the title from him, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Mhm.
gonna win the title.
Yeah, I don't think he'll win that title.
I didn't like when Cena went back and won the U.S. Championship after he had been
Really?
champion for so long.
I mean,
I think that's just my mind going back to the 80s and growing up in an era when that didn't happen.
I don't mind it just because of the fact that you need to keep things fresh in the main event scene. Like you can't always have the same people going at it.
Yeah.
And I think it's different than the 80s too, because you have more shows now that you need to fill up time
100%
for.
agree there.
So you need to like
So
keep things
I
fresh
just
a
think
little bit.
it's what I grew up on back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I
So
get that.
It's a weird adjusting to something different like that.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's also a testament to, you can make the argument of how WWE has booked their main event stars to the fact that you can slot them down into the mid card and no one bats an eye. I think that's something to be thought up there, but that's a whole nother argument for another day. But yeah, I think it works, but I could see the point from both ends there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there's one thing left to say.
Hey, yo.
It's time to end the show. Folks, thank you for listening or watching or both to another edition of the RAWDOWN. Marco, where can we find the Chick Foley Show?
Oh man, you can find me on the Twitter machine at Chick Foley Show. You can find Sheena at Chick Foley on IG. You can find me at the MVP Marco on IG. You can find us all at chickfoleyshow.com. $2 gets you in the group. Talk some wrestling. We'll find some figures for you. It's the summertime, so there's going to be a lot of reveals happening. So, and there's a lot of stuff popping up now. I'm seeing a lot of Batistas. I'm seeing a lot of figures popping up that were kind of desolate in the past month. They're starting to like resurface for some reason. So if you're in the area, you can't find them in your area, definitely hop in the group and there's an extra set of eyes for you to find those. So new show this week, the Pod Warriors. They are it's a special edition of the Chick Foley Show. They recap NWA Always Ready. So you hear Seth and Jordan talk about their travels as well as the show. I believe Sheena makes an appearance as well. She's kind of like their Paul Ellering there, so she's kind of keeping them in line. So yeah, definitely take a listen to that, and that's pretty much it on my side.
Yep. I will also give the plugs to J-Bone. He's not here tonight, but we will plug him coming down the aislepod.com. J-Bone, hope you're doing well, and we will see you next week. But yeah, you can find all of J-Bone stuff. I think he has a new Free the Fig coming out actually. That is his sensational Sherry.
Yeah, I think it just dropped.
Figure.
I saw it on social media a little while ago.
Yeah.
So definitely want to check that out. He's got some great content over there. Say that again, Tom.
I need that figure. That Sherry
I'm sure
figure.
You do.
I have
5
it
of them.
somewhere.
You have it? It's better than the first Sherry figure, right?
Are you talking about the collector's edition one that they did a few years? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's better than that one. Yeah,
I need it.
I didn't know we were on Fig Night, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I'm kidding. But yes, go to comingdowntheaislepod.com for all of your J-Bone needs. Tom, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, the OG Fig Kid, Twitter and Instagram. And Tuesday nights earlier tonight before RAWDOWN, we had Fig Night, where we announced that the Fig Night has become the official Fig Show of the Wrestling Figure News Source, Wrestling Figure News on Twitter. 25,000 followers there. So it's an exciting new joint venture that's going to make us grow. We're going to have new projects, new videos and stuff coming. So Fig Night every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. The debate show on Monday with me, Chad Sneed, and whoever shows up to be the person to debate with us. And on Fridays, you got sessions, me and Mike Belcaster every Friday morning. That's it.
Beautiful. And you can find me over at the Independent Epicenter. I've got a busy summer coming up. I've got, of course, Invictus Pro Wrestling's taking a little bit of a hiatus this summer, but that only leaves some more room to venture out and get to working with some other wrestling companies. I've talked with a few, and we've got some things in the works, so stay tuned. Definitely have some more content coming your way for the Independent Epicenter, and you can follow me on that for at Independent Epicenter or at Indie Epicenter on Twitter and Instagram. Definitely follow me there. Folks, it is time to end off tonight's episode. If you like what you heard, and I know that you did,
It's
make
time
sure
to get cooked in it. It's time to get up. It's
All
time to
right.
get cooked up.
Okay, Tom. You got it. You know where to go. If you want
came up
all
with
of your
that on the
Turnbuckle
fly.
Tavern needs, you can go ahead and go on over to theturnbuckletavern.com. Join our community. We are growing. We are growing faster than you can say Thomas Montalto. There are so many ways that you can support us on Apple Pods, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, you can buy our merch. Let's talk about some merch real quick. ProWrestlingTees.com/tavern for all of your exclusive Raw Down merch needs. You know, you got the Hollywood Tony shirt, the Boney Shivani shirt, the MVP Marco shirt. There's a light blue shirt on there. You should scroll on by and not, don't give Tom any don't give him that support. But all the other shirts are doing pretty well. So you can definitely get all of those shirts.
Well, now that you say that, I got to read a text, because if you're going to be mean to me,
okay,
I'm going to read a text that I got today.
Go ahead.
Oh boy.
It says,
we're not trying to wrap up the show or anything. Let's just listen to the text here.
Yeah.
So this is I'm not even going to mention names because I don't want to hurt people's feelings and let people know who this came from. It says, gotcha. Helena is so excited to meet you. I watched the tavern on the big screen in our living room and bedroom, and she always says that you are her favorite. That's a real text I got there.
You can also buy our merch over at Teespring. Of course, Teespring has some amazing shirts that you can go ahead and sink your teeth into. That is at theturnbuckletavern.com. You can see the little Teespring tab and go to it for some merch. But it's not only merch, because you have mugs and stickers as well. You can buy my favorite shirt, Mr. Backlash himself. Randy Orton has his own shirt up there. And finally, call the fucking tavern. If you want your voice heard on our message little thing, however Chad and Sneed do it, hear your message played on the flagship show, call the tavern, leave a voicemail, 304-404-2004. That's the number to call to get your voice heard. Once again, that is 304-404-2004. Get your voice heard.
Yeah,
well, folks, thank you so
Young
much.
Anthony, you think you're Thunder Rosa? No selling that.
We need another call, man. I'm kind of upset we haven't had any complaints at all. Like
I know. I'm waiting for the witchcraft kid to come back and
Anthony, the Thunder Rosa of the RAWDOWN.
Thunder Rosa of the RAWDOWN. That's actually a good one. I'll give you that. All right, that's enough ballyhoo for one evening. Thank you all for watching and listening. We will see you right here next week for some more RAWDOWN action. But until then, take care, spike your hair, woo, woo, woo. You know it.